Welcome back to AI Today. I'm your host, Dr. Alan Badeau, and we are having a great conversation about what to expect in 2025. We've seen a lot of challenges. Some people think that 2024 was a butt kicking. I understand. A lot of people have a lot of hope, though, going into 2025 around where technology is going to go, where funding is going to go in some cases. And that's, getting some people off the fence, but it's still a challenge that some are a little bit leery about that. And, I've gotten a lot of questions about this. I'm bringing you an expert. You can thank me later, but it's great to have Miss Jen Gaudet back on our show, who is going to talk about the financial, outlook for, investment and for some of those things that that you all are looking for around. Is it the right time to take that leap? Jen, it's great for you to be back. Thank you.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. All right. So you want me to dive in?
Dive in. Go ahead.
2024 was not fun for people looking for money. And so I just want to preface this with, I'm not a financial advisor. I am not this is not my corporate expertise, but I am an investor in technology. I am someone who is part of a brain trust in a VC that funds startups and technology. And I am also a business strategist who helps my clients get funding. So I play in this arena a lot. And the sentiment in my circles has been the first quarter is going to be wait and see. In case you haven't paid attention over the years, anytime there is an administration change, there's a volatility. So the money holds on and we kind of wait for the dust to settle. So the things that people are looking for are the things that we were told were going to happen actually going to happen with the new administration? And there's going to be a little economic, turbulence that happens. That's normal. But the general sentiment is we're very positive that end of second quarter, beginning of third quarter, the money is going to begin to flow. That gives the changes time to settle. But I want to say it's not going to flow the same way that we're accustomed to it previously. There's a lot of factors into that. So the general sentiment is it's going to be a little turbulent in the beginning. Don't give up hope. Stay persistent. But look to the end of second quarter, beginning of third quarter to have a little bit more easing and opening of wallets.
Yeah. So, and that's really great, Jen, because one of the things that folks are trying to understand, are we going to get back to the good old days? Meaning, you walk into an office and maybe they write you a check by the end of the visit and you're good to go. And now you've got to form your business plan and now you've got to come up with a direction that you're going to go. Or are you really seeing that those processes, those companies that were going out of business that got millions and millions of dollars of investment, that's not going to happen again. And these guys are much more focused. They understand the technology now. What do you think is going to take place as that goes forward?
So newsflash, it's never going to go back to that. It is never going to go back. So if you're used to just getting a check to grow and grow and grow and you haven't actually had profitability yet, that is not where anybody is going. Tech as an industry has matured. It reached maturity. So the reason tech founders have had such a hard time is investors were skittish because of economic factors and things outside of our control. And tech matured at the same time. I want to call it end of 21, beginning of 22. And then we had this little blip with AI where there was a lot of investment, but we're now seeing that these people have run out of runway. They've come back to us. They haven't delivered on what they promised. So the checkbooks are getting cut off. It doesn't matter what happens. And if the floodgates on money open, they're not going to just give you a check unless you have path to profitability. You have something you can actually show. You need to have a sound financial business plan and not just to get to your MVP anymore. They want to know what's your long-term plan. What's going to happen post MVP? How is the long-term recurrent revenue? Recurrent revenue. That's a big word, not just the project, because everybody did bespoke. A lot of bespoke was happening in AI. What happens next? Where's the recurrent revenue? And if you don't answer those questions, and not with a pie in the sky best case scenario, because we all can we can sniff that out in 2 seconds, right? Mm-hmm. It needs to be give us what's the worst case scenario. If you run out of cash, how are you going to manage this? Or what is your lean and mean? We're to lean and mean in tech now, with our strategy. What does that look like? And what's the most likely scenario? Don't give us, oh, it's going to be amazing. We're going to be a billion-dollar company, because we all know better.
Yeah.
We're not dumb anymore. AI's been around enough. We've watched the cycle. We've watched the startup, the excitement, and the fail. It's a bloodbath. And so you've got a lot more savvy tech investors and a lot more savvy institutional investors when it comes to the tech industry. So make sure you're lean and mean. Make sure you're profit focused. How long to profitability? That is the number one question. How much runway? And the other mistake that a lot of tech founders make, and especially in AI space, has been that they're not putting any skin in the game. And now we're very skittish as investors. If you haven't put financial skin in the game as well as your sweat equity, and if you're expecting to draw a salary immediately once you get that check, those are the ones that are skipping. We're just skipping right over it. We want to know what your money is going towards. And if you're paying development team, that's a whole different conversation. But if you're looking for executive pay right off the bat, wallets, I think, are going to stay tight.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes sense. Those days of having a 5-year runway to profitability I think are over. I mean, you're not going to have, millions of dollars of losses just for the sake of growing revenue. I don't think that's going to ever happen again, irregardless of what the market is. And, from an AI perspective, with technology changing so much, are you seeing that folks are more really trying to invest in a certain path, meaning, oh, it's a user type thing, or it's an algorithm type thing, or does it not really matter as long as you've got a good plan?
So we're seeing a little bit of variance there, but I will tell you the number one thing that we look for is it solving a big enough problem in the market? And what is the competitive landscape? And the funny thing is, everybody pitches us, there's no competition because it's not there yet. BS, we've been pitched it 60 times already, and you just lost. If you come in and you think you're the only person with this idea, you're lying to yourself. So do your market research, understand what the actual size of the problem is, and then how does your solution impact that? With investors, it's dollars and cents. How am I going to get my money back? And everybody's focused on protection because a lot of investors have lost a lot of money over the last several years with the change in the market and a lot of different things. So how are you going to protect my money? And how is that going to grow? And what is your path to profitability? And how fast are you going to get there? And the other thing I want to say about this is a lot of people pitch to get the first seed funding for their proof of concept, or their MVP. And they traditionally would get a big chunk of cash. That's not how it's working anymore. They're going to commit, maybe you need $1.4 million for your whole development. They'll commit that, but you're only going to get your 100,000 to get to proof of concept. You're, maybe 150 more. Once you've got proof of concept, they'll write you the next check. Think about it like a construction loan in housing. Contractors don't get full everything right off the bat. They're phasing it in, and investors are getting pretty savvy about phasing it in. And if you don't meet your deadlines, you're not getting that next check. And so it's really important that you are you're thinking about the worst case scenario and all the pitfalls that can happen, because what we have seen on the investor side is, oh yes, I'm going to have this proof of concept in 6 weeks. You're going to have the MVP in 3 months. And then 6 months later, we don't have anything. So we've gotten very savvy to that. Make sure you're thinking through all the pitfalls and everything that might happen, and give us an uber conservative timeline and an uber conservative financial model. You're going to have a better chance of winning, because what the investors are going to say is, oh, okay, they've really thought through this. They've thought through, oh, okay, if this happens, then we have this risk, and here's our contingency plan built in. So we're not going to have to come back and ask for more money. So those are some of the things that I think you can expect moving forward.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of techies a little bit nervous when it comes to this. They're still trying to figure out, oh, do I grab hold of the coattails of one, model producer or another? And well, that's a different show, I think, that we'll be able to talk about later on. Jen, where can people get a hold of you at?
So very easy on Now Media. I am the host of Power CEOs. It airs on Monday nights. You can catch me there or LinkedIn, and I'm very responsive on LinkedIn. If you have questions, please ask me. And if I'm not the one with the answer, trust me, I know how to curate the answer because it's in my network. As I said, I am not the expert in finances and economics, and I'm just bringing you what I know and what I see in my experience. But I know a lot of people smarter than me and can connect you exactly where you need to go.
Well, that's great. And so, you know, the audience, I hope you paid attention because there are some things that Jen said that were not AI related. They were your business relations. They were your processes that you need. They were taking those things that we talk about all the time and just really hammering on those. And, that's the only way that you're going to be able to succeed at the end of 2025. We want to make sure 2025 is better than 2024. And if you don't have those things in line and you haven't jumped in yet, then you're behind already. So, thanks, Jen. Love having you here as always. We'll connect on some additional topics next week, but stick with us. We've got to go to a short commercial break.